All right, how's it going, everybody? This is C-Zar Gets Crypto with your host, C-Zar. We're going to do an in-depth analysis today on Ethereum. I've done this a couple times and I keep messing up, so we're just going to go for it. Um, on a weekly scale, if we look here at Ethereum, I like to use Fibonacci, the Fibonacci retracement tool. That's my preferred method. That's where I feel safe. That's my safe place, and I base a lot of my analysis and techniques around that. There's a lot of methods that involve that, like harmonics and Elliott wave theory. Um, and then just like sequence patterns even, but which is basically harmonics actually. But uh, yeah, I like the Fibonacci retracement tool. Anyways, this is not financial advice. This is my opinion. This is my perspective. If you like my perspective, go ahead and do what you will with it. But it's not advice. This is not, I'm not telling anybody what to do. I'm just telling you what I'm going to do or what I will probably do. Or maybe not even do, but what I'm expecting. Because I would say a bunch of this stuff I probably am not even holding or involved with right now, other than just looking at it at the charts. But it's my second video. I figure, Ethereum's the second cap. Why not? It's fitting. So from the top to the bottom, we look at this fib. We come up to the 0.5 retracement. We don't even hit it. We actually come just below it. The selling pressure is so immense that we actually reject this area before we can even get to it. We get a bearish engulfing candle that eliminates 1, 2, 3 weeks of price action, and I don't know where ultimately that does not bode good for Ethereum. Whenever you, or for anything, not for Ethereum, but just for anything, whenever you bounce off the 50, normally you get a strong move in the opposite direction. If this was coming down from the top and you bounce off the 50, that would be good, but we're on the bottom bouncing down. Bouncing off the 50 zone for the Fibonacci retracement, that's not a common thing. It's not uncommon, but it's not something that normally happens, not as much as the 618 or other lines. It's not a significant line normally. But when it is significant, we see significant moves. Normally we see very significant moves off it, strong moves. So when I say that this is going to come down, I don't mean it's going to do like what this did, down and then like meander its way down. No. Or like what this did over here, even like kind of meandered its way down, right, all the way. No, it's gonna be like this, or more likely maybe, it's gonna be something like this. I'm not saying it's gonna be all red candles, but the release will be brief. They will not be large, and the downside will be tenacious. Well, most likely, in my opinion, from this read on the fib scale. There's another fib that I want to draw on the monthly scale. This is a longer term fib, right? Going from the last cycle lows to this cycle's highs. And I'm using the all-time high here, but I'm not using the all-time low. People might be wondering, well, why don't you do that? If I draw that line here, yeah, it looks good. You got the 0.382, the 0.236, both showing significance. I mean, over here, even the 0.618 looks kind of significant. 0.1618 down here, that's a support level. This is actually kind of nice. I actually do kind of like this. But personally, I normally like to measure things from the most recent lows to the most recent highs. Or the most recent highs to the most recent lows. That's how I do it. Even though this is the all-time low, I'm going to take the most recent low, because this little wind up, this little bit right here. Oops, let's see. That little downtrend, that is what ultimately slingshot us up this way. Not this move. This move was a part of it, inevitably, of course, but it's this down move that was the result in that. If this move was the result in it, then we would have not gone down. We would have just kept going up. You know what I mean? But we didn't. We came down. The down move was the result of the uptrend. So I'm taking the measurement from the down move to the last bit of this uptrend, which is up here. Anywho, remember again, we were on this fib scale first. I'm going to go back here. We're saying we bounce off the 50. Now we're on the longer term, on the monthly. From 2020's lows to 2021's lows, or highs, we came down and bounced right off the 382. We actually wicked below it a little bit, but we closed right at it. We held it as very significant support. I could go again, just how I was talking about from these lows, I could measure it from these highs too. I'd probably find a very similar, yeah, it kind of looks good, but this is just how I personally choose to do it. There's a bunch of ways to do it. As long as you find significance in the reading, then you will probably find significance in the price action. And it doesn't have to be exact. It just has to be a good estimate. You can do a lot with a good estimate in this game. We bounced off the 382. We held it as support, came all the way back up to the 236. This is very classic, actually, to go from the 382 to the 236. But what's not good is that we held this 236 so far. It's looking, if we close this month in 8 days, actually about 9 days, if we close this month in 9 days' time, below this, like this, I think, to me, that looks like we rejected this line. And when you come from the 382 and you reject the 236, normally, in my experience, what happens, whenever you come down like that, you hold the 382 as support, you come to the 236 back, you normally come back down and you do one of two things. You hold it as support again, or you break through it. And I'm kind of under the impression that we're going to break through it. What's significant about this is that this is a monthly time frame. This is a very significant scale. So breaking through the 382, this is at 1051. If you remember earlier, we were talking about on the weekly scale here, bouncing off of this 50 zone. I'm gonna hide this, the monthly visibility. We'll take it off the weekly. There we go. We bounce off the 50 here. It's a significant move, but remember, that's not common. It's not that it never happens. It's not that you'll never see it. It does happen, but it's not the normal thing that happens. It's not the thing that happens the majority of time to bounce off the 50 level. So if we go back to the monthly, remember, the odds are if we break this 382, which I do think we're going to do, I think we're going to come down and maybe we hug it for a little bit, whatever. Maybe we break through it and hug it again and then come through. Maybe it's not just a clean slice. Maybe it is a clean slice. Based off the other fib, right, bouncing off the 0.5, that's normally a significant move. So I kind of do think it's going to be a clean slice for whatever that's worth. A clean slice of whatever. We're going to go through the 382 and probably not bounce off the 50. If we do, that would look awesome. That would be really good. Again, if you bounce off the 50 on the fib, that is a significant, that's grounds for a significant bounce to the other side. And we could go, like this, hold this, and then, but like it's generally, it might not even be like that. Who really knows what the price will look like? But if you hold the 50, that's actually a really good thing. But again, it's not common. What's more common would be for us to go like through it, maybe like kind of hold this area as like a significant zone, but really come and hold the 618 as support. That's what you want to do. You want to hold that zone down there as support. And if you bounce off the 618 and you come back to the 5 or the 382, that's pretty common. And we could see that. We could see Ethereum come all the way down to the 618, something like that, find a relief rally. What would not be good, just like bouncing off this 382 and getting rejected from the 236, it would not be good to bounce off the 618 and find resistance at the 382, meaning coming back down. It's not condemning. It's not condemning, however, but it does put Ethereum in a situation where it would need to hold this 50 line now. It would need to find significance at that level at this point. At this first pass, it's probably not going to find significance at it, but you'd want, because at this point, if it holds its significance, you're creating a stair-step pattern, which is a classic formation to get out of this zone and expand to new highs. Something like that. And it might not look exactly like that. They're not always that pretty. I always think people who draw the predictions, I'm not predicting that price will look like that on a time frame or anything like that, or it could look completely different than that. It's just, I'm trying to give an example of how price acts in relation to the Fibonacci retracement. So again, in my opinion, we're probably going to come to this 382 and break through it, which means, in my opinion, Ethereum's on its way right now to the 618, the $408 level. It might not get that low. It could get close to that level and not quite reach it, which would actually be a very bullish thing. But reaching that low would also be a pretty bullish thing. Bouncing off of this level, this is a very strong level of support. It's the golden ratio. It's a textbook Fibonacci move. It would just be, it would be beautiful. It would be very beautiful for the long term if Ethereum could come down to this 408 and hold it as support. But honestly, right now, what we need to look for to hold support is the 1051 level. Personally, I'm not expecting that to hold as support. I am expecting us to cut through it. But if we cut through it, that's not necessarily good for the short term. That's not, or the midterm. That really does imply that we would go to the 618. The only reason I'm hesitant to say that we'd go to the 618 is because that's $408 to me just sounds so low. Like, you know, we're at 1600 right now. That sounds really low to happen again. You know, back on the weekly scale, bouncing off this 50 here, making it assumedly a significant move. To go that low on a significant move after we just had this huge crash down, to me, it just doesn't feel likely. But sometimes it's those moves that don't feel likely that are the most likely to happen. In my experience, that's how it is. Got to get this ad free. Let's see. So right now it seems kind of ridiculous, but in my opinion, from what I've seen, if it was any other scale but the monthly, like I would be saying, oh yeah, we're going to the 618, no problem. But just because it's the monthly, I have hopes that it can hold this 382 or the 0.5. I do have hopes, but if I was a betting man, and I am, I would bet that we're going to break this 382. I wouldn't bet that we're going to break the 0.5, though it's not common to hold it. We very well could, but I want to illustrate. I've been hitting this over and over again that bouncing off this 382, rejecting the 386, that is not a good sign. That is really not a good sign. Not usually. It doesn't. And now, it not being a good sign, Ethereum could close this month. It could look like it's rejecting it, and then the next month break above it. It doesn't. It might not even have to come to the 382. It doesn't have to do that. This is not saying that it's going to happen the way I'm talking about it. I'm just talking about the statistics and the probability, which lines up with exactly what I've been saying for like the last 30 minutes. What's not probable is for us to just bounce off of a random area over here, which I guess this isn't random. I mean, if you look, this is the past all-time high. We could come back down to the past all-time high and then break out of this 236. That actually doesn't sound too crazy. That could totally happen. And if we did that, if we held 1400-ish, then there's a good chance that that's going to happen. And breaking above this 236, that would look really good. That would actually look really good. That would kind of invalidate everything that I was just saying. But again, I'm not, I guess I am going over all the possibilities. I like to go over all the possibilities, but I'm really going to I'm going to instill my opinion, my perspective, not just say all these possibilities and then when one of them happens to be like, oh, I called it. No, I'm gonna put my I don't know, whatever you want to call it, pride, I don't know, I'm gonna put my name on the line and make a call. I think that we're gonna go below 382, the 382, the $1,051 level. Man, I can't talk. This doesn't mean that I think you should sell. This doesn't mean I think you should buy. This doesn't mean I think you should do anything. This is just what I am expecting Ethereum to do. I don't even hold Ethereum. I'm not going to buy Ethereum whenever it drops that low. Again, this is my second video. It's the second cap coin. I feel like it's, I know a lot of people like Ethereum, so I feel like it's relevant. Why not do an in-depth analysis on it? If we go back, just to show the significance of these Fibonacci's, just to show that it's not some random BS, we haven't even measured this yet, so I don't actually know if this will turn out good, but I'm going to measure that move that I was talking about, this little move that sent us up from the top to the bottom. The fib extensions here, I mean, you look at the 1618, boom, we actually held that as beautiful support. That actually looks really good. That's what all these different fibs can be drawn, and you can get totally different perspectives from all of them. But I mean, we broke above the 2618. I don't know. We probably hit like the two or the three. I don't know, like something up weird up here. It doesn't seem like a significant top to me. And coming back down and bouncing off the 1618. I mean, honestly, this looks kind of good for continuation up to the 3618. Coming above it like this, bouncing off the 1618. That normally is implications that you're going to go to the next extension, which looks really good. And I mean, that could happen. The only reason I'm not holding a lot of weight on this is because This little moves extension, in my opinion, which didn't even really call the top. There's nothing really significant, or maybe there's a level up there that's relative, but in my opinion, it's not super significant. Um, it didn't really call the top or anything, and it's a really small move to measure from here to here. It could play out that way that I was just saying. We could hold this level and go all the way up there from here. It could happen. But to me, this measurement is a lot more significant. And how we're playing off of this looks bearish right now. To me, that holds more significance than this potentially bullish outlook, which developed in a lot less time. Even though this is what sent us up here, that is a significant move in itself. To me, the move up here is more significant. You know, this move up here is what led to this move down here. So it's more relative to what we're doing right now. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's how I make logic out of it, at least in my brain. All right. There's one more thing I want to go over with Ethereum. Where weekly, I'm gonna type in ETH USD on Bitstamp, but I want to go to the index. This is for the longest history of Ethereum. You've probably seen this before, the 1, 2, 3, if you looked at my last video for Bitcoin. I like the 1, 2, 3 EMA, the 123. I like it on the weekly a lot, especially. On the daily, it's kind of like a third of a year. It's kind of, that's kind of significant, I think, from a time perspective. On the weekly, I don't know what that would be. That'd be a little bit more than 2 years. But it takes 123 weeks to form. You have to get the average close 123 weeks. So all this, we don't have the purple line because that's before we had 123 weeks. We finally got it here, December 4th, 2017. That was the first week of the 123rd week and beyond. I personally find this level, this moving average, to be significant. It might not be significant on all charts, and honestly, it probably is not significant on all charts. Some charts it's more significant, some charts it's less. And even on Ethereum, like if we go to the daily compared to the weekly, it's a little bit more, I guess, I don't know, it's pretty respected. It looks kind of pretty respected. I wasn't expecting that, but the daily could not respect the 123 where the weekly does. That it can be different charts off different time frames, but on the same asset. What I'm trying to get at here is the relationship to this 1, 2, 3. We come down, we kind of hold it as support, we flirt with it a little bit, but we break through, and then lower we go. Buying below this purple line, even if you bought up here at $200, even though it went all the way down to 80 something dollars, if you bought at $200 and you're sitting at $1,600 now, you did pretty good that was in 2018, 2019. It's 2022 now. You did pretty good in 3 years' time. Even if you bought the highest point of this kind of area, you did pretty good. But if you go below the purple line, you're probably not going to be just below it. You're probably going to go a little bit further. So just keep that in mind. We came back up. So we held it as support, broke through it. And once we broke through the support, that's significant. So we get a significant move. Came back up, held it as resistance. This line's proving its significance, in my opinion. Coming back down, we get a partial decline. We can't even get back up to it again. We're so much selling pressure that it gets rejected. We get our final move down. It's not the lowest low, but it's the final move down that sends us up. We kind of flirt with it again. We're holding it as resistance right here, and then we break it with good volume, and that sends us on our bull rally. We don't even come back to test it. We've got so much buying pressure. We're going up, 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 up. We come back down again. We found it as support. And remember, we came down just a little bit over here, but there was lower to go. We came down just a little bit over here. I think this was a bull trap. We got a lot of people convinced that Ethereum was going to go higher. Then we get this engulfing candle. We found it as resistance, just like we did this last time. And the last time that we did this, and just to be clear, we don't have too many references for this. That's literally the only reference that we have. So based off of the only time that it's rejected from that, other than now, it went down 75% from its relative high to the low after that. So from here, I mean, a 75% move, that would be insane. 75% move is right there at 500. But again, that kind of lines up with the levels that we've been looking at. If I take the bottom here, measure the top, the 1272, the 1618, that 1618 is actually kind of right around that level. That 400 level, which on the monthly scale is on the monthly scale, that's the 618. Right there, it could drop 80%. That's totally possible. And to me, looking at, again, the weekly, and the last time that we bounced off of this being a 75% drop from top to bottom, I think it's completely possible that we could go 80% on a drop. It's completely possible that we don't even go 75%. We could only go 50%. And 50% would put us at a slightly higher low, but it would put us right below 1,000 again. It makes that seem a little bit less impossible to happen, right? But if we base it off of the exact percentage from last time, that would put us at a price around $500, which is kind of close to the 1618 extension of this move, which is a significant level. And in my opinion, it's the most recent move that we've had to the upside. I think just like how this move was significant to send us to the upside, this move will be significant to send us to the downside, meaning that the Fibonacci levels will be significant as well as support. If we get down there, we broke through. If we look, I'm going to just take this and delete it so it doesn't look so confusing. If we look here, we came down from bottom to high. We broke through the 236. We're probably on our way to the 382. If we break through the 382, we're likely going to go to the 618. And if we break that 618 like butter, we're likely going to go to this 1272 or the 618, which is down here at $524 to $700, which again, from this recent high all the way down to the 618, it's about a 74% drop. It's 1% less than the last time we got rejected off of this 123 weekly moving average, which in my opinion has not been tested too many times, but the times that it has been tested, in my opinion, it looks significant. It looks significant. Significant enough to take it into consideration. That's all I got for this video. I think I've said everything I want to say. Oh, I could look at the RSI too. On the RSI, I think on the long-term RSI, this actually looks really good. Ethereum, if we go back, if we look at this, put a line right there. Ethereum held a level. I'm just going to put a horizontal line so I can kind of move through it. It held this level, the 49 level on the long-term RSI, the 123 RSI. A lot of people don't use long-term RSIs. I've actually don't know too many people that do use them. I do find significance in them as far as measuring the overall strength for the market conditions, for the more mid-term, long-term market conditions. I do find value in it. Some people might think it's crazy, but I personally do find value in it. We're above the 50 right now. That's beautiful. We held this level that we've held before as support. It's very significant. That's good. That's a very good thing for the overall structure of Ethereum. That to me is a good thing. It's definitely a good thing. Most of these charts find significance more at the 50, but every chart's different. Every chart has its own personality. It doesn't have to find support at the 50. It can find support at the 49. That's totally fine. As long as it shows respect later in its life toward that same area, then that's something that we can build off of and identify. And then it doesn't need, even if generally speaking, the 50 is the more significant level for most things, it doesn't have to be for this one. For this one, it happens to be 49. That's totally fine. And this, so far, to me, looks pretty good. But what doesn't look good is the shorter term RSI, this one right here. And you can see we are finding significance on the 50 here. We actually came right up and bounced off it, rejecting it. We're holding this RSI trend from top to low here. I don't know if we can draw that a little less. It's not perfect. We get, a little bit, I don't know, something like that. Yeah. I don't know. Got three points right there. To me, it's still in this kind of channel of the RSI. It did reject it, which is also rejecting this 50 zone. That does not look good. It's the 10 RSI. It's the short-term RSI. So in the short term, price does not look good. In the long term, price is fine. It's not, it's not weak, it's not strong, but it's just kind of neutral, whatever. But a neutral price long term with a weak price indication for the short term, that's not good. That's not good for the immediate price action to come. And I think that's just another reason why we're probably going to see some downside from Ethereum. Uh, um, hmm. Try to think if there's anything else. We can look at the Heikinashi, see if we see anything there. Yep. On the weekly, Ethereum just flipped red. The Heikinashi is kind of like a momentum measurement for candlesticks. It's not quite the same. I mean, you look at it, I go from Heikinashi, look at all these greens in a row, look at all these reds. And like here, it's a lot more sporadic. It's the natural look of it. Heikinashi is a different metric or a different way to measure it. Basically, though, whenever it flips green or red, that's a more significant thing. I don't know. It means that it's, the move's going to be more significant probably. We got the green here and it didn't actually become bullish. It was bearish still. It faked people out. But then you got the green here and it went 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks green. One green here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Flipped red. Things are bad. I don't know what I'm trying to say, what word I'm looking for, but it's normally significant. Normally, not always, when the Heikinashi flips. And in this case, it's flipping red, which is another thing that's not good. That's another thing that's not good for Ethereum, at least in the immediate short term. If we look on the monthly, it's probably red. It's probably been red, yeah. This actually doesn't look bad because you got a little wick to the upside. This is generally something you see whenever you're starting to find a low. Maybe you haven't gotten to the low yet. Maybe you haven't found the bottom, but you're getting there. Like down here, that didn't mean that we were going off to the races yet, but we're getting there. We're kind of getting there. We didn't go much lower after that. We actually didn't even go lower after that. But yeah, that was the last time. I guess the last time that we saw something like that was here, and we went off to the races. But it's different conditions. We're coming off of more of a downtrend this time, kind of like this. I don't expect us to get a bounce right now. It could happen, but this does mean we're kind of close to the bottom, I would think. I think that's it. I think that's everything I got for Ethereum. If I forgot anything, I don't know what to say. We could use more volume. I'm going to go to Binance. I find the most volume normally is on Binance US dollar tether. I don't like US dollar tether, but I don't like the US dollar either. And I use the dollar every single day, so I never use tether, but whatever. We're getting significant volume. We're getting kind of nice volume. That's good. We want to see that. I wonder what it looks like on the regular candle. We didn't really wick off it. We did get nice volume on this last one. This month here, my histogram for my my volume, it's set to 10. Oh, I don't want 10. I want like 30. Maybe 28. Do 4 weeks, if it was to be on a weekly scale. So I do that because then anything that gets above this green histogram, it's significant volume. If it's not above it, it's more or less insignificant. All volume's significant at the end of the day, but I don't know. Like here, it's low volume. We're at the top here. Then we finally start to get some serious volume here. It just barely breaks it, but that's more significant, and it's to the downside, and then boom, we keep going down. Then we get a lot more volume, significant volume that we had like all the way back over here, same levels, and that marks a relative low, stuff like that. I don't know, that's how I use it. Now we're kind of at the histogram. It's still significant volume, but to the downside, that's not a good thing. If we see more significant volume come in and this week be a red week, that would not be good. Right now it's August 22nd. So if by the end of this week, which I think, what would that be, August 27th? If August 27th closes with more volume than this green histogram and it's a significant red candle, that will not be good for the coming weeks. That's another thing. But that hasn't happened yet. That might not happen. But so far, in my opinion, there's a lot of things that are kind of suggesting negative. If we're looking at a fundamental perspective, the Ethereum merge is coming up, I think on the 16th or the 18th or something of September, less than a month away. Things tend to pump off of hype. There's a buy the rumor, sell the news. There's a lot of people that think that Ethereum's going to pump after the merge happens because everyone's kind of expecting the merge to not be that significant, or to maybe even have bugs. And whenever the thought is, whenever it comes out flawless, then that'll prove that it's all good, and then people are going to buy. And I think that's a good theory. You know, we could go up after the merge. I don't think it's going to work like that. I think it's going to be classic, like 90% of the time, buy the rumor, sell the news. Um, but it could happen. It's like I said, it's 90%. It's not a guarantee. It's just statistically, in my opinion, we're not likely to pump after the merge. Anywho, anywho, that's just one Dippy's thought. I hope everybody has a good day, good life, whatever. Yeah, take care, and I'll see you on the next one. Adios.